Hi, Joel. Hi, Amberlin. It's really nice to meet both of you. I'm Jenny Butler, the Director of Partnership Development at Sophia. If you haven't heard of Sophia before, we provide online self-paced gen ed courses that our learners often transfer for credit to our partner institutions. Thank you so much for joining me today, and congratulations on being named ACE Students of the Year. I'm really excited to ask you a few questions today and to learn just a little bit more about your journeys in higher education. You both wrote really inspiring nomination essays that reflected on your personal higher education journeys. So Amberlin, I'll ask you first, and then I'd love to hear from you, Joel. Can you share what motivated you to pursue your degree and also say a little bit about the path you took to achieve your goals?
My path toward education certainly wasn't linear. I've battled mental health challenges for most of my life, which made learning extremely difficult for me in high school. And as a result, I kind of just had it that school maybe wasn't for me. But I realized that in order to obtain a role where I could really make a difference and be a contribution, that I would have to earn my degree. So in 2021, I enrolled at Thomas Edison State University to earn my bachelor's degree in psychology.
Oh, that's so exciting. And Joel, can you say a little bit about that?
I was always that advice friend. So everyone was always coming to me. And I kind of grew into that niche. So I chose psychology. And at 19, after having about spent a year at the University of New Orleans, I figured college wasn't for me just yet. So I joined the military. I joined the United States Marine Corps. And I spent 9 years. And in those 9 years, I was in school at the National University. And I spent time on and off trying to be a good student. Some mission requirements didn't allow it, but here I am.
Well, Joel, first, I'd like to say thank you for your service. From your perspective, what ACE credit recommendations did you use, and how did those credit recommendations affect your decision making and ultimately, your progress through your program?
I had 175 JST credits, which is the Joint Service Transcript. Unfortunately, I only had about 60 that would apply to my degree program, but 60 is way better than zero. And I used those, and it helped me to avoid taking some extra classes or classes like the gen ed ones, which was really nice because I can focus on more middle and upper level classes.
Well, I'd love to hear from you too, Amberlin. What ACE credit recommendations did you use, and how did that affect your decision making and your progress through your program?
I've heard so many unfortunate stories about people who are just drowning in student loan debt. And I made it my goal really early on to graduate college debt free. So by utilizing ACE credits through CLEP exams and study.com courses, I was able to earn 75 credits, which saved me about $40,000 in tuition. And in addition to all of the money I saved with alternative credits, it really helped me build momentum, and I was able to graduate 2 years early. So I am just ecstatic.
So I think we all know the importance of developing a work-life balance, and that this can also be a struggle sometimes. So I'll ask you, Amberlin, and I'll ask you, Joel, after that too. How did you manage to handle your course load on top of the demands of your other personal and professional responsibilities? And were there any disruptions to your academic plan?
To be honest, I wanted to give up a lot of times, but I am not a quitter. During the course of my degree, I juggled a full-time job, family, studying, and health issues, and it really wasn't easy. Last spring, I had a skin cancer scare, and then my dog got kidney stones, and I really realized that life doesn't stop just because you're in school. And I really had to learn the art of adaptability and self-compassion and really master the delicate line between knowing when to push yourself and honoring your body's limits. And I really surprised myself at what I was able to accomplish. And I really think that if I can do it, then anyone can.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. It sounds like even during a really hard time, you made some fantastic decisions. So just congratulations on getting to the point that you are. All right, Joel, can you share a little bit from your side?
So for me, I had a lot of support. I don't think anyone does anything of significance without a good amount of support. And for me, I had support from both my school and the Marine Corps. I was blessed to have very good supervisors who understood I was in school. And 30 minutes makes a tremendous difference when you need to study before an exam is due or finish editing a paper before you send it in. And I had good enough supervisors that would allow me to do that. And for the school, they offered me all the support possible. My instructors let me turn in some assignments a little past due dates because they knew I was outside of Wi-Fi or internet connectivity, and they worked with me. Some of them understood I just didn't have the time, in some cases, to really dedicate the time required for school. And they were really wonderful in allowing me to pursue in the best way I could possibly do that.
And to build on that, I'll ask you first then, Amberlin, were there things that your institution did, maybe your higher ed provider or your employer, that made pursuing higher education easier or harder?
Absolutely. My employer at FPIN was unbelievably supportive to me and was really flexible and understanding of my deadlines in studying. And additionally, my university really caters to adult learners, and they just have so many resources available to help. I must have sent 24 papers to their peer reviewers at 2 a.m. and always received really excellent feedback, which I feel has made me a better writer and also a stronger student.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I'm so curious then for you, Joel, were there any things that, your employer, your higher ed provider did that made pursuing higher education easier or harder for you?
So from my perspective, my school was quite wonderful. National University had assigned to me not only a student advisor, but also had a veteran benefits advisor. So I had someone that was an expert in the school's attributes that could help me out. And then I also had someone that understood the challenges that I was going to face as a veteran. They understood the challenges from other veterans' stories, and they provided me with really a map that allowed me to walk through it because so many had gone before me, and they made sure it was easy for me.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And I'll ask you first then, Joel, what are your goals after you complete your degree? What do you have your sights set on?
So that's the $1 million question. Everyone wants to know, what are you going to do after you get your degree? And for me, it's really going to be going back and getting another one. So getting the first degree in psychology is very important to lay the foundation, but then you have to build on that foundation. And over the next few months, I'll be deciding what specialty I want to specialize in for my master's. And then during that course, I'll use the resources available and talk to some experts in the field and to find out what would make sense for me to pursue in the PhD or another master's or whatever it may be, honestly. I'm definitely open to the path ahead. I just want to be as effective as I can be where I'm going to be.
Well, that is so exciting. And I have to ask you, Amberlin, what are your goals after you complete your degree? What do you have your sights set on?
I am just so grateful for the education that I've received so far, and I've just enjoyed it so much that I'm really not ready for it to be over yet. So I plan to enroll in a graduate program in developmental psychology in the fall. And I'm not exactly sure whether I'd like to pursue a clinical path or more of an executive coaching route, but I know that my mission is to help people with mental health struggles and ADHD to reach their full potential.
That's so exciting. Well, I would love to hear from both of you. How will you use your platform as ACE Students of the Year to inspire other learners?
I think it's really important for us all to recognize and appreciate that there are so many diverse pathways to learning. And I feel really passionate about making education accessible to everyone, regardless of age, race, background, or financial situation. So for people who maybe weren't able to thrive in a traditional learning environment like myself, I hope to inspire them and increase awareness of all of the resources and support that's out there so that anybody who desires an education can have it as an option to them.
I think that is an incredible plan. And I'll throw it to you, Joel.
I'm very awkward when people are telling me I did a good job because I just work to work sometimes. But for me, it's very important to tell people to just get started. Before I left active duty, I made sure everyone in my work center was signed up for courses, just because it's very easy to let the time slip away. You can have 1,000 excuses, but you only need one reason to start. There's going to be challenges, but when you get nominated as Student of the Year, it really lets you know, and it validates the challenges and it validates all the work that you've put in, no matter how little or how much, that validation matters. And I get to tell someone that someone is paying attention and someone will acknowledge your work.
Well, I think that is such a great message. Just get started. That wraps up our time for today. Actually, thank you so much, Joel and Amberlin, for sharing your stories with us. You know, ACE, Sophia Learning, and your respective institutions are so proud of your accomplishments. And I think I speak for everyone when I say that we hope to be a stepping stone in your successful academic journey that we know will be successful. Thank you so much.